Hello everyone, welcome back to this, I suppose, sort of what-if series where I explain what the live-action Legend of Zelda movie could have been like if I wrote the story for it. If you haven't seen the first part of this series yet, I'd encourage you to do so, otherwise you'd be missing context of certain things. So, to briefly recap the events from part 1, Ganondorf has claimed a mysterious sword from an ancient temple as part of an apparent revenge plot, and Link is heading to Castletown with his fellow Archants. So, to continue from where we left off, as the caravan approaches Castletown, Link's dad suddenly begins to slow, reining Epona in. Naturally, the rest of the group peer over to see what's going on. Surely not even the common bandit would be as ambitious enough to attack a caravan right outside the walls of the capital. Well, they were right, but what they saw instead could arguably unnerve most common folk in Hyrule. Heavily armed diplomatic envoys already outside the gates being led into town. Zora, Goron, Rito, Gerudo, and Sheikah were all making their way into the capital. We should keep our distance low for now. The last thing we want to do is get on the bad side of those tribes. Link's dad's comment clearly doesn't sit well with other members of the caravan, with the caravan leader who gave the warnings about how to behave in Castletown commenting, "Maybe not, but I fought with them in the Outlander Wars. They're as honorable warriors as any Hylian could be. You'd know that if..." Link's dad gives the caravan leader a look, indicating this was an We now cut to inside Hyrule Castle, where we see Princess Zelda watching the respective leaders of each tribe enter the castle courtyard to be greeted by the Hylian king and this story's version of Impa. The princess turns to a handmaiden in the room, querying the presence of the tribe leaders. "I do not remember father mentioning this meeting. What brings all of Hyrule to one place so suddenly?" The handmaiden explains that as the Festival of Gods approaches, the king saw fit to declare a feast among the nobility of the kingdom to celebrate. Zelda thanks the handmaiden for the explanation and proceeds to leave the room. "If that is the case, then I should head to stand by my father's side, as a show of good faith." We then cut down to the castle courtyard with the king addressing the various tribe leaders with a speech. "It is with great pleasure that I can announce our efforts to rebuild Hyrule have finally borne fruit. For the first time in centuries, Hyrule is unified and at peace. With this peace, I know the 7 of us can lead this land into a new golden age. I ask that as the Festival of the Gods commences in the coming days, that you see firsthand of what our victory has done." Many of the surrounding soldiers of each tribe applaud the brief speech given by the king, with the Sheikah merely giving something more akin to a golf clap rather than the hearty cheers and applause of the surrounding soldiers.
"Bravo, your majesty, and let it not be forgotten, that it would have meant nothing without your own hard work, my friend."
Everyone looks towards the Gerudo King before bursting into applause once more. In the distance, Zelda watches, having failed to enter the crowd of soldiers to reach her father. Following this, we jump back to Link and the rest of the Ranchans who have since been able to make it into Castletown with no issues from the other envoys also entering the capital. Link and the younger members show expressions of shock of how large Castletown looks on the inside, having never been there before. On a side note, I want to express how massive Castletown is in this story. Despite the name, it's really more akin to a city. Think Victorian London, but less grey, and with significantly less shit being casually dumped on the street. And no Jack the Ripper. And no Spring-Killed Jack. After a few more minutes of the caravan navigating through the streets of the bustling city, they eventually stop at an empty space within the central marketplace in the centre of town. With the Festival of the Gods starting soon, tourists from all over Hyrule will be flooding in, hence why the ranch hands are setting up shop in advance to take advantage before the festival commences. Midway through setting up the stand, Link's father hands Link a pouch of rupees. "There's an inn just down the street run by a friend of mine who knows we're coming. Make sure to book our rooms for the next few days. We'll only be packing up once everything is sold. We could be here well into the middle of the festival." Link nods and heads off down the street, expecting an inn of all places to be something easy to spot. After a few minutes, Link realizes that after a certain point he's just been going around in circles and has got lost in an entirely different part of town. Link frantically tries to retrace his steps, but only seems to end up further away from where he originally got, eventually ending up facing one of the key areas of the upcoming festival, the Temple of Light. The temple itself is a rather majestical sight, and Link can't help but approach the entrance out of curiosity. As he approaches, he notices a rather aggressive conversation going on between a Gerudo warrior and a Zora woman and an elderly Hylian man. "For the last time, I can't do what you're asking of me. It's a divine role, not a political title. Next time you come asking, I'll have you removed from the temple grounds by force. The two women simply scoff and walk away, clearly upset with the outcome of that conversation. The old man sighs before noticing Link and trying to put a smile on. Hello there, young man. I am sorry you had to witness that. Welcome to the Temple of Light. How may I help you? Link stares vacantly at the old man for a second before frantically trying to communicate his predicament. The old man tries to calm him down and reassure Link he's in no danger here. You can relax, young man. Why don't you come inside? You look like you'd use a drink after all. I hope you don't mind tea. And this is where we end this part of. I'm sorry that this video is shorter than normal, but with Christmas coming up, I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself to release a 10 to 20 minute video before I go home for the holidays. And also, script writing is a bit hard in the current state my wrist is in. This video is probably scheduled to go up after Christmas, so I will say now, I hope you've all had a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the new year.